Hello. So for this test, we are going to be doing the urea test. For this test, we will be using the slant culture along with an inoculating needle. So first things first, we're going to clean our area, wipe it down, make sure everything's nice and clean. Our micro incinerator has been on for 20 minutes, getting nice and warm. So then we're going to take our needle. We're going to put it in the micro incinerator for 10 seconds, let it get nice and sterilized, and then let it cool for 1 minute. Then we're going to take our source culture. This is a slant culture, so it's a little different than a broth. We're going to remove the lid. We're going to heat the lip of the tube at the micro incinerator for 2 to 3 seconds. And then we're going to take our needle. I'm going to do this in green. And we're going to put our needle in and just kind of rub it right on the top. We're not going to stab into the source slant. And pull it right out. Then we're going to heat the lip of the tube at the incinerator again. Replace the lid and set the source culture aside. And then we are going to take our needle with our source on it, and we are going to stab the needle about 3/4 of the way into the tube, the urea slant here, and then pull it back up. Straight back up. And as we come up, we are going to kind of streak it one streak on the slant of the slant here. And then we are going to replace the lids. Both of those needed to be heated before and after putting the lids on. Then we're going to heat our needle in the incinerator for 10 seconds, let that cool for 1 minute, set that aside. Then we're going to put our slant in the incubator at 37 degrees Celsius for 12 to 48 hours. And we'll keep checking these, and they might need up to 5 more days of time. And that is the urea test. This is the oxidase test. So like all tests, or all procedures, or anything we do in the lab, we're going to make sure that our area is sterile. We're going to spray it down, wipe it down, make sure everything's clean. So for this test, we will need some sterile swabs and our slant culture. And then we will need our oxidase for the end. So first thing what we're going to do is we're going to open our sterile swabs. You want to be careful not to touch the tops of our swabs, but hold them by the handle instead. And then what we're going to do, we also have our incinerator that's been on and heating for a long time, for 20 minutes. We're going to open our source culture. We're going to remove the lid. We're going to heat the lip of that for 2 to 3 seconds to make sure it's sterile. Then we're going to use our swab. We're going to pretend this is the swab for a minute. And we're just going to touch the top of the growth that's in this slant. So we're just going to put the swab, just kind of touch it there. It doesn't have to rub around or poke into it or anything. So we're going to just touch this here. Then we're going to heat the lip of the tube for 2 to 3 seconds, replace the lid, put that off to the side. Then we have our swab with our sample on it. We're then going to take 2 drops of our agent here and drop it onto the swab, and we will observe what happens. And then we'll dispose of correctly. And that is the oxidase test. This is the sugar fermentation test. So first we're going to sterilize our area. Make sure everything's nice and wiped down. For this test, we are going to be using an inoculating loop. So we will make sure that this is our loop. We're going to make sure that that has been sterilized in our micro incinerator that's been heating up for 20 minutes. We're going to put that in there for 10 seconds, let it cool for 1 minute. And then we have our source slant here. So we are going to open it. We're going to get a little bit of the growth from this slant here. And then we're going to heat the lip of the tube again. I forgot to say to do that first. Heat the lip of the tube again, replace the lid, put that off to the side. And then what we're going to do, we also have our sugar tube here. This sugar tube has a smaller tube inside of it. So we want to make sure that that tube has no bubbles in it before we start. So then we're going to take our sugar tube, we're going to open it, we're going to heat the lip of the tube with this for 2 to 3 seconds, and then we are going to take our inoculating loop and we're going to put it down into our specimen, kind of shake it off. We're going to heat the lip of the tube again, 2 to 3 seconds, replace the lid, and then we're going to incubate that at 37 degrees Celsius for 12 to 48 hours. And at the end of that, or when that time's passed, we're going to observe what happened. And we're also going to this is the glucose. We will also be doing that with lactose, mannitol, and sucrose. Same steps. So then after all that's done, we clean our workstation, make sure our micro incinerator's off. And again, that is the sugar fermentation test.